This is the Team Tank Top card review for the Night in Karazhan upcoming Hearthstone adventure, not expansion. It's 45
Adventure.
cards. It's coming out August 11th. Going to be super hype. Very kind of Hello Kitty-ish vibe from the art, but
it is kind of childish, but hey,
yeah,
it's Hearthstone.
There are new cards,
Yeah.
so that's what's exciting, right? And so first card up, guys, we have a one mana Mage Minion. Mage Minion. It's a rare card. Babbling Book. Cool little art. So it's a 1/1 with a battle cry. Add a random mage spell to your hand. Thoughts, guys? Let's go with Cantaloupe first.
I don't know how good it is. Like, first of all, it's random, the effect, but I just can't tell if because it takes a slot, right? It takes a card slot, and like, why not just put the spell you want instead of having that card? To me, it's like can be good and constructed, but probably, I mean, the body's really weak for one. I don't think it's going to be that viable, to be honest with you. But it could be good in arena. It's like just draw a card, you know?
Yeah.
It's like kind of a late game card because you can draw it later and maybe get a big spell to cast. But I feel like overall it's really slow and I'm not sure if it's going to see a lot of play. It's just maybe my personal view on that card.
Yeah,
it's not a bad card though. It's not a bad card. I just don't know if it's a good card.
I think it's gonna be good in like Mage Rush decks. I think we'll see that, especially with the Polymorph Boar, because now you have a minion on board that you can turn into a 4/2 with charge, and you get a spell out of it. So it can also act as like if you get a late game spell, you can use it late game and get something out of it there. I think it'll be beneficial in that aspect. But yeah, like what Caleb was saying is about how it takes a slot. I don't know if you'd want to replace it with your worm or anything like that.
Yeah, I think there's no way you would play this over a mana worm, but I didn't think about the polymorph boar synergy. That's kind of interesting.
It is, yeah, I didn't think about that.
You could play two polymorph boars and this guy, and then on turn 4 play this guy and polymorph boar the same turn. For a rush deck, it could be, but the thing is, kind of what Cantaloupe mentioned is like the fact that it's a random spell. There are a lot of spells in Mage that do not help you at all. So like if you get a shatter, or if you get like even like, I mean, there's some that are kind of useful. What if you get like, I don't know, you're trying to rush them down and you get like an ice barrier and it just doesn't do anything for you. So I mean, there's just a lot of you can't control what you get at all.
Like a spell slinger is better than this, right? I mean, it does like the same thing basically. It gives them a spell too, but it has a really good body. It's a 3/4 for 3.
Yeah.
This is a 1/1 for 1. Like this is a hero. This dies to hero powers,
Yeah.
It's just a really, and also you have to spend like the next turn when you have the spell, you have to spend the mana casting the spell also. So it's not like there's no like tempo with this card, if that makes sense. It's more of like get lucky and bail yourself out of a bad situation card, but I don't feel like it presents any tempo for you.
Yeah, I could see it fitting in kind of like, so you get a spell, so it's like a deck that really, really wants spells, which is like, the Mana Worm, Flame Waker type deck. You could play it in there and just see whatever spell you get is going to help, kind of. But I just don't think that it's and it gives you another 1-drop too, which you really, having a Mana Worm on 1 is like a huge difference. So this gives you at least something to do on turn 1. You can play it, get a 1/1 down, and get a spell. So it's a decent drop to just throw on 1 for a tempo style deck. But again, like I don't know if you're going to want to use a card slot for it. But in kind of like what Juice was saying, like a really aggressive deck with Flame Wakers and Mana Worms and all that stuff, maybe even Violet Teachers, maybe you could fit in that style of deck. But I don't see it played in any other type of deck, and even in that deck, it's questionable. So
it's risky. It's like
we'll see. We'll see. It might see a little bit of play.
Like I mean, I might draft it in arena just because it's fun and draw is always in arena.
Exactly.
Like flexibility is huge in arena because you don't always have you can't pick the spells always that you want. So sometimes it's really nice to be able to. But then again, you're right. It's not discover. It's just a random. It's a battle. So,
and the other thing is it's not draw. So you actually don't even get it from your deck. You just get any random mage spell. So it adds it to your hand, which it helps in fatigue matchups. But in the deck we're talking about playing this deck, you would not care about fatigue at all. So
it's so random. Like it's so hard to predict what you'll get.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like the layout of mage spells, just to see kind of how many times do you get like a damage spell, or how many times do you get something that's helpful. That if it's like a 50-50 to get something helpful, maybe this card's good. But if it's like less than that, which it probably is,
if you crunch those numbers and then see
somebody will make
what
a
you
spreadsheet
get,
and you'll be able to tell like how good it is.
Yeah.
But 1 mana for 1/1, not great, but it could be playable.
It could be, yeah.
Next guy we have here is Barnes.
Ooh, legendary.
4 mana, 3/4, neutral legendary. Battlecry, summon a 1/1 copy of a random minion in your deck. Okay, let Juice go first this time.
All right.
I like it. I think it's not the attack's not as good for the mana cost, but I think it would be viable in some decks, just like how the idea we had earlier about death rattles. The death rattle is huge. You know, it summons one, it puts it on the board. You know, even if you're running I mean, I'm trying to think what decks would be really good for it. Probably the Enzoth Rogues. Like if you had something like that, the only deficit would be is if you hit, you know, a
Enzoth.
yeah, if you hit Enzoth for sure, or if you hit, you know, your whatchamacallit, your Raptors. Your Raptors wouldn't have anything. But I think Death Rattle is the main thing that you want to get out of that.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mean, if you really think about it, it's like a Yeti body if you add the 1/1 in to make it like a 4/5. And it can be really good. Like I think this card can be sick. Like if you obviously like you get a Ragnaros or a Sylvanas or like a powerful card like that has a after turn effect or death rattle effect is really strong. I mean it can be, or like I don't know, I guess it can be pretty just average. If like at the worst case you get a Yeti basically for 4, which isn't that bad. I guess it's not quite a Yeti since it's separated among 2 bodies. With one you can kill with a hero power, so it's like not quite a Yeti. But another thing that's really good about this card is that you can actually silence, I think, the thing that comes out. So like if you get a 1/1 like Mountain Giant or something, you can silence it and turn it back into an 8/8, I think. So you can actually silence.
Do you have Ironbeak Owl in any of your decks right now?
No, but I mean it might change. So also like imagine if you get like a Yisarge Rage Unbound or something, and then that summons like another thing after.
That would be a cool deck actually, because
the chances are so slim though. You'd have to have like, or like a Malagos. What if you got a Malagos and then you had 10 mana and then you had like a bunch of spells you could blow?
Wait, you could. I didn't even think about that, dude. You could make a Malagos because you can in a Malagos deck, a Shaman deck. You can literally only play this in Malagos and get it every single time.
Yeah, you can make it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's scary, dude.
Yeah, and you can freaking go ham in one
Jillian
turn.
says Ysera, but Ysera is like you get 1 card out of it, but then they just kill it. It's a 1 like what you gotta expect that whatever you play, it's gonna die the following turn, like 95% of the time. So you're looking to get 1 effect out this guy, which Malagos, you're gonna kill them the next turn. So you're gonna play this on like turn 7, turn 8, and then follow it up with like your double. There's no crackles anymore, so that kind of hurts. But there's like you can have like lava shocks, you can have lightning bolts,
you can have ice shock
and lava burst,
frost shock. You know,
frost shock,
Earth shock.
Yeah, so if you have all these spells,
it.
that makes Malagos deck a lot. This is kind of scary. I didn't even think about the Malagos. That's like one of the biggest ones that you could get on this thing.
And you could be good in Druid too. You like with the Moonfires and the
Druid could probably
Living Roots does tons with Malagos. So
yeah, man, that's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about Malagos at all. Druid would be Druid could do it too. Like any deck that you only play this and Malagos in. You really couldn't. That's the thing is you couldn't really play any other minions in the deck though. So
one more reason it's good is because you get a copy of 1/1. It doesn't actually pull the thing out and turn into a 1/1.
Oh,
so you really get 2 of those.
I didn't read that.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I didn't read that. I thought it pulled it, but yeah, it's a copy. So you're like you get it out and you're like, well, I have another one anyway. So
yeah, exactly. So it's actually it can be really good in certain situations. I think.
Yeah,
it's definitely a really cool card.
So aside from Malagos decks, like I think kind of what Cantaloupe said, the fact that it's a 3/4 plus a 1/1 is like it's fine as it is. Like you play it, you're not going to be too upset about it, and the benefit of like getting most things out, like I was thinking about this for like Death Rattle Hunter because like I run a Death Rattle Hunter with Enzoth and stuff, and you play 2 high mains, a Sylve, you play like the little 3/3 that spawns 1/1s. I forget what it's called, the wolf, the infested wolf.
Oh yeah, that's wolf.
Pretty much most of the minions in there you're fine getting a 1/1 out of, and then.
But that's all you have to run then. So you can't run like your.
It can be
a
really
1/1
strong.
Sylve is sometimes better than a 5/5 because it's easier to kill, and it's like you actually want it to die. It can protect against like whirlwinds and stuff. So
that Mali Shaman though, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
like you just play those 2 things.
That's kind of scary. Actually.
You could probably run another legendary in there that's just as good if you want to mix it up.
Like an Emperor or something, maybe. I don't know.
This card doesn't really have much downside to it.
Right.
It has a lot of upside and not much downside. So
good point.
I think it's a good card for sure.
What about an arena? In arena, not.
So I mean, it's the same. Still. It's the same, but it's still like it's not as good in arena. Yeah. Obviously, like the more you can prepare for it, and like subtract the factors that you don't want to happen, which is what you can do in constructed by not putting a lot of minions in your deck. You know, like the Malagos idea you were saying. It's obviously better in constructed, but it's not bad at all in arena. I mean, like I said, you get a copy of something, so at the worst, it's just kind of like a Yeti body down.
Yeah, I like them split in arena too. I like when you have your damage split up a little bit. Also,
yeah. Like, I don't know if I'd draft him over other things in arena, over other legendaries.
You'd probably like to be better legendaries, but if he's up against like a Mukla and a Millhouse Mana Storm, you know who you're taking. So
yeah. It's definitely not a bad card. It's pretty hype. Hype.
So next up we have a 6-mana 3/6 dragon called Bookworm. Battlecry: if you're holding a dragon, destroy an enemy minion with 3 attack or less.
Excuse me.
As a Dragon Warrior player, what do you think about this card?
I don't know. I don't think it's that good. It's like the stats for 6 are pretty weak. Mm-hmm. Got 3/6 for 6. I mean, you can get a 3. It's not taunt.
Right.
You can get a 3/6 taunt for 4 with that one. I forget what he's called.
Twilight Guardian, I think.
Yeah, with Twilight Guardian. But like the effect's good, and he's a dragon. So you know if he's sitting in your hand, you have a dragon. But by turn 6, if you can't deal with a 3 attack minion's not really a threat usually on turn 6. Like when you need this card, you need him before turn 6. Like if you know what I'm saying, I think it can be good, but I don't think it's that good. And obviously in arena, I think it's really bad because you probably aren't going to have a dragon in the stats. Like if it works, it's good, but I just don't think that. I don't think it's that powerful for a 6-mana card. If it was 5, I think it'd be really good. But what do you think?
I think you're crazy, but Juice, go ahead.
I mean, I agree with Caleb, but I don't think it's a good card.
Really? I'm the odd one out on this one.
I think that exactly what he said. Like 3/6 is not enough for a 6 cost. I mean, I can think of another one, which is with the Draconid, right? So like that's a 6/6 right there, and then you don't need a dragon for anything to proc. You need low health on your opponent, and then it gets a buff. I think also it would be better if it was lower mana cost. Like maybe if it was 5 mana, right, and then it can compete with Stampeding Kodo. So now you're playing with dragons in order to get the benefit of a 3 cost. Opposed to the 2 that a Stampeding Kodo has, and the health out of it, then I think it would be a bit better for its value. But I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's that good for a value card being a 3/6 on 6, and then you have to hope that your opponent is playing something, so you have to now play strategically to where you want to have a 3 out there on turn 6 when you have your dragon play. I think it's too many wheels you have to have in motion, and it doesn't give you like as good of a benefit for all those things.
I mean, Connor doesn't agree. I gotta hear what you think. What do you think?
So this is I understand why you guys don't see the power of this card because you guys are not priest players. I am an ex-priest player. I played a lot of priest, and I know a card that's played in almost every priest deck, which is Cabal Shadow Priest. And that's a 6-mana 4/5, which steals a 2-attack minion. And granted, stealing a minion. Okay, I might have just corrected myself there. I might have just like turned back to you guys' sides because I just realized like Cabal takes it, this thing kills it.
It kills it.
But
I mean, luckily
this is a dragon too, so you have to think like you really want dragons in your hand for dragon decks. So granted, like Cabal is played because it steals stuff, but even when Cabal hits, you're like 4/5. Obviously, this is a 3/6, a little different stats. But I think this this is very close to being auto include in every Dragon Warrior deck right now. I think like
Dragon Warrior.
The problem is, you already have the 6/6. You already brought up the Draconoid Crusher, the 6/6. So like that's already 2 big 6 drops there. I'm not sure if you want 4 6 drops.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking.
But it's a dragon, and like you really, the good thing about this is it's a turn 6 dragon, so you really want it, because like a lot of times you have that awkward hand, Cantaloupe, where you don't know if you want to play your Twilight Guardian because it's like this is your dragon activator for like the 5/4 the next turn, and it's like having another dragon in there, I don't know. Always, Dragon Priest is another one that could play this. Like if Dragon Priest could be a thing again, this could see play.
I changed my stance a little bit. I don't think it's good for Dragon Tempo Warrior, but I think it's really good for Priest. Like I could, if in a control-y deck, I think it's actually not bad. But in the Warrior one, like you need tempo and damage, and this thing obviously gives you tempo by killing something. Right. But on turn 6, there's like I'd rather play a Karen or like just play something strong on turn 6 than that. Like this is assuming that this is like a comeback card to me, and that deck's built around pushing tempo, and like if you lose. You never want to be in a position where you have to come back. Like,
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
but think about like how good when you play a 5/4 that deals with 3 and you kill something. How good do you feel like when you're like, I just played a 5/4 and killed something. Like this is gonna be the same thing a turn after that. Like you're gonna play this, kill like another fairy dragon or obviously best case scenario would be like a water elemental or like an elite star seeker. Like there's a lot of 3-attack minions that are kind of heavy mana cost. Like the Kodos are 5 mana that are 3-attack. Like killing anything with this is good.
Its attack is too low though for that benefit.
You're right.
Yeah?
It's not an aggressive card.
I think it just depends on the deck. I think it can be really good in some decks, and I think if it's an aggressive deck, I don't think it's that good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
just because of the body. Just because the body's like.
But,
and obviously,
but is Dragon Warrior aggressive, or is it more just like? I guess
I think
it's
Dragon
aggressive,
Tempo
right?
is really aggressive.
I haven't played too much of that, so I don't.
Like
I don't know.
you have to play really aggressively with it. So
From what I've seen, yeah.
Julian's right. It kills a Fandral. I mean, if it kills a
True.
Fandral, like the value is insane, and it gives you a dragon to play.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely
it's
can be
not as-
good.
yeah,
it can be good.
Yeah,
It's just it's situational. Like I think we'll see. I could be totally wrong. I can see it both ways. I guess.
I think we'll see more of this card than the first card we saw, which what was it, Babbling Book? I think more
Babbling
people
Book.
try to play this card in their deck than they will.
These will definitely make it into decks for sure.
Okay. So we were a little torn on this one. I think we ended up kind of more at the same place. At first, I was thinking this is insane. Then I realized because I had Cabal in my head the whole time, and then I realized it doesn't take it. Just
you do
kills,
get to pick the minion you get to kill though, so that's a benefit.
Yeah,
True.
and
That is true.
Cabal is only 2-attack. This is 3-attack, which expands its target pool by a lot. So
Also, one like something really good is that it destroys the thing. It doesn't have to, like, so if it's like an Acolyte of Pain and you have to hit it with damage, they
That's
draw a
true.
card. But this doesn't. Or like if it's like a Imp Gang Boss, this thing just takes it out of play.
Imp Gang Boss. That's insane.
true. Yeah.
So it's just that this thing
Councilman?
takes it takes things that have like on hit effects out of play, so that like you know what I'm saying. It's like an execute.
Yeah.
So they're not going to draw. They're not going to get a 1/1 imp. Like it just takes it right out of play. So that's pretty good. The destroy. The word in the text destroys is different than damage. So, yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be at least a 1-of in almost every Dragon Warrior deck for a little while, and then they'll see how it is, and then maybe
We're
it's a
gonna
2-of,
see it.
maybe it's a 0. We'll see how it goes. It also depends on like what the meta's like and if it's killing a lot of stuff. Because if it's killing a lot of stuff, it's gonna be used. So I don't know. I think when it hits a 2 or a 3-attack minion, even if it hits like a mana worm, you're super happy, you know? So
Yeah.
I don't know. You're not playing a big minion, but it's got 6 health. It's going to be around for a little while. So 1 mana, 2/2 beast, druid card, Enchanted Raven. Juice, what do you think?
I love it. I love it because of value. So I learned so much about value when I did Arena and like just playing like their mana cost versus their attack and their health. And for this reason, there's no deficit to playing it. There's only benefits. So now you can have a 2/2 out on turn 1. Let's see, you come up against any other 1-drop that your opponent plays if they're not coining, and you can kill it, and you can keep your minion up. So I think it's a good card. I mean, just strictly based on value. There's no other benefits. Like obviously, it doesn't proc anything. There's no battle cry or death rattle to it. But just the fact that it's 1 mana for a 2/2, especially in that druid deck, this is going to be great for those minion strong decks. Now you can play this 1 cost, and then you can play what's the card that gives all your minions death rattle?
Soul of the Forest.
Yes, thank you. Soul of the Forest. Like you'll be able to play that, and if you have 2 other minions on board, it's a nice 1-drop that you can just throw down there to give it, some bonus. You can also combo it with the other card that'll give you 2 1/1s. Then you'll have 3 minions on board. You can pop that. That's 6 mana if you had nothing on the board. Now you have 3 minions that are all death rattle effect. You have a 2/2 out of that, and then you have your other 1/1s. I think it's gonna be real good in those minion strong decks. Plus, it's a beast, so you have other benefits as far as that card that what is it? Ysera's I can't remember the name of the
Mark
card.
of Yasharaj.
Yes, thank you, Mark
Yeah.
Yasharaz. That one. When you play that on it, you're gonna get the card draw and you're gonna get a buff, and it's a 1 cost. So I mean, being 2/2 already, it's gonna have that buff. I think it's gonna see a lot of play personally. Like I don't know why. I mean, it does take a slot, but I think it's going to see a lot of play. I'm probably going to play with it just because I prefer those rush decks, and I want to see how this is going to go down.
Cantaloupe?
I think it's okay. Like I think it's pretty good, but I don't think it's like a game changer. I think the reason it is like kind of good is that it combos with the Malc, so you can actually draw a card on turn 2 and buff it to be a 4/4. Like it's good because it's a beast, but I don't like. To me, it's just like a weak. Like I'd rather have a zombie chow. I know that you can't play him anymore, but it's not like okay. So I think that the Living Roots is better because, like, say you're playing Zoo, and you drop this on turn 1, and they like say they coined out like the one of the dudes with the death rattle. That's the villager, and then So like this dies in one hit from like a buffed villager. Like if he did a wolf, dire wolf, or like an abusive sergeant, it just clears this with one hit of that. But if it's the little Living Roots, you can actually end up clearing that minion because he can only hit one of them. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's like it's not bad, but I don't think it's like a game changing card. I think it's like solid and it's nice to have on turn 1, but I don't really think it's better than the Living Roots. If it's at least like even, except for the beast synergy, but.
I think this is on turn 1. This is like almost 100% better than Living Roots, because if you go Living Roots turn 1, you have 2 1/1s. They go Possessed Villager on their turn 1. Then you would attack into it with your 2/2 and hero power. Let's say assuming you hero power turn 2 to finish off the Possessed Villager, you have a 2/1 on board versus a 1/1 on board if you did Living Roots turn 1. So like on turn 1, dropping this guy is like it's like Zombie Chow status, because it's like it doesn't die to any one attack creatures. Like you said, a lot of Zoo has like Ardent Squires and Possessed Villagers.
But like it dies to a void to the taunt guy, the 1/3 taunt guy, it dies to that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to Living Roots against that either. So I mean,
true.
So on turn 1, this is like the best turn 1 you could. Well, now it is. Like, so now instead of like if you have like this and Living Roots, you can keep both, whatever. But having this on turn 1 as a Beast Druid, so we have a guy in chat saying I think this pushes Aggro Beast Druid into being playable. Fiery, let me tell you that Aggro Beast Druid was already playable, man. Like I played a lot of Aggro Beast Druid last season, I think, and it had like 60% plus win rate with it, dude. It's a very good deck. And this card is going to push that deck into like, it's not going to be like, super top tier, but I guarantee people will play this and Beast Druid will be good. I'm going to play it like right away. I'm going to put this in probably instead of the 3 mana 2/5, because I didn't like that card very much anyway. The Druid of the Druid of the
Flame.
I think. Okay. I didn't like that card that much. I think it felt weak, but having this on turn 1 now makes that deck, because that deck was all about having like early board presence and just getting the board from the get-go and never losing it. So now if you have this card turn 1 and then the Mark of Yashra turn 2,
it's really good.
You
with
pretty
the
much win the game, like unless they can clear your 2/2. And the only decks that can really do that are like Druids that they have Living Roots to the 2 damage, and then you still just went 1 for 1. So I mean, basically you just want to have like a crazy innervate turn, or you just want to curve out really, really well. So you can do like this turn 1. You have like either a Power of the Wild or a Mark of Yashra or a the 3/2 stealth on turn 2. You have very strong early turns, and then you have whenever you can do a Mark of Yashra and get a trade off, it's just insane. And then you just keep the board the rest of the game and just stomp them down. Like
it's really good with the Mark.
The Mark is really good.
This is really good for Beast Druid, but it's not really good for Druid as a whole. I don't think. Like, because I think the roots are like more flexible, because you can do 3 damage with it. But in a Beast Druid, 100%, this is a great card.
Yeah,
especially with the Mark.
My next question is, would you play this in any other deck other than Beast Druid? And I don't know if it.
No, I don't think so.
The other Druids you want to ramp, right? So this is like. Now you can make Druid decks that want to stomp early on, and like the Beast Druid does that very well.
This helps a lot as a Beast Druid, just because you need to be.
Yeah. And even like we said, like just having this against like turn 1 against like Zoo and stuff is like, even if you don't have the Mark turn 2, you're gonna be able to have something going on. So
it's like a 3 mana 4/4 that has a draw card battle cry. if you have those 2 cards.
Combo.
Yeah.
So good.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's definitely good. It's definitely good. I don't think it's like great, but I think it's pretty good. Like, it's pretty solid, and it's a common card, so it's definitely really good in Arena, because it's common.
So you like this in Arena then?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, I'd obviously rather have a Zombie Chow on turn 1. Like, the 3 health is huge compared to 2 health.
Zombie Chow is much better in Arena.
But you'd pick this anyway. I guess it's a good one,
Yeah, the big thing about this too is that the fact that it has 2 health doesn't die to any hero power. So like there's other than Zombie Chow, I don't think there's really any. Well, there's like Ardent Squires and the Possessed Village and stuff, but other than that, there's really every 1-drop will like die to a hero power, or at least not get value. So this guy doesn't die to a hero power, so it's gonna live. It's gonna live.
That's true.
when you're going
with your
first,
druid hero power.
this card is just so good. So
It's
good.
bad. It's bad against if you're. It makes having 2/3s a little bit better. Like if your opponent has, because no one runs 2/3s. I feel like the only one I think that people run in competitive is the flame juggler.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is obviously not good against 2/3s, but against 3/2s, it's really good.
So
And people
good.
mostly only run 3/2s, so it's
3/2s,
pretty
that's true.
good.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Cool. So moving on, guys, we have a rogue minion, 5 mana, 5/6, Etheril Peddler. Battlecry, reduce the cost of cards in your hand from other classes by 2. So the first time you guys see this, right?
I've seen this
Yeah.
one. I saw this one briefly.
Okay.
That's my first time.
I think it's sick. I think this card's sick.
Yeah.
I think it's sick because the body's really good. Like in Arena, it's
Yeah,
at the worst, it's a pit fighter. Like it's a great stats for the mana. And
True.
I don't know if like in Constructed you have the slots for this to put it in, but it's pretty sick. Like if you do Burgle and then Dark Peddlers, and then like you just so this isn't just for a turn; it reduces it permanently.
Right.
So like it could be really sick. Like and at the worst, it's a great body. Like ooh, hey girl, you got a great body.
Gotta love the body.
Yeah,
On this guy.
It's not like I don't think it's gonna see much play in competitive, or excuse me, in Constructed, but it's definitely cool. It's a cool card, and it makes that kind of deck like a little more viable, and I think people will start trying it a little more.
Yeah.
Like with Burgle and Peddlers, or not Peddlers, the Huskers.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me.
Undercity Huckster, yeah.
Yeah, Huckster.
Huckster.
I can't even remember his name.
Undercity Huckster and Burgle are the only 2 cards I can see
Mm-hmm.
that benefit from this, like in competitive play. Those are the only ones. So then you could possibly get 6 cards, right? You could probably get 6 cards from other classes that you could drop this and then get that effect on if they're all in your hand, assuming. I think it's okay. I think you're going out there if you try this in competitive play to make it work. I could see it in Arena. If you're running that, you just put it out because, like you said, it's a pit fighter, and then it gives you some benefit because you get the lower mana cost on those cards. For Arena, though, I really like it because it's value. So just to go off what the Cantaloupe was saying, that 5/6 out there is really solid.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this. So we talked about Undercity Huckster and Burgle. Are there any rogue decks that even play those cards right now? The only thing
Huckster,
that plays
they play Huckster.
Huckster, yes, but Huckster gets you 1 card. So let's say you still haven't played that card on turn 5, you get it reduced by 2. Like, what if it was a card that you didn't even care about anyway? What if you got an Inner Rage from Warrior? What if you got something you can't? There's this. That's the problem with running those cards is like you have no idea what you're gonna get. You may not even care if they get reduced anyway. You could get like preps. You could get 1 mana cards. Like you could get. So I mean, yeah, it makes you could make a really wonky rogue deck that'll be fun to play with Burgle and Undercity Huckster and these guys, and just make it like a control rogue or something like that. But we don't have any decks like that right now, so I don't think this is gonna fit into any decks. Like people are gonna try to build fun rogue decks to play this card, and I've already tried to build fun Yogg decks. I think I played one against Cantaloupe. Actually, we did a challenge one night, and he thought it was mill, and it's some mill.
Oh my gosh, I'm still salty about that game.
It was a Yogg rogue, and it was like I run
Yogg
Burgles
rogue.
and Beneath the Grounds and just crazy stuff.
That was when you got the Kabbalist tome, and then you got an ice block from it.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, dude, because
Oh,
you got it from a
wow.
Huckster, right? And I was like, oh my! And then you got the ice block to live. I was so salty.
It was a crazy game, but
That was a sick game.
You can make definitely like a wonky fun rogue deck to play these guys and try to get some value from them, and you can't be mad about playing a 5 mana 5/6. But
I mean, it's the best statted minion for 5. Like even in Arena, like you pick this every time just for the body.
yeah,
The body's
absolutely.
crazy. 5/6 is really strong in Arena on 5. It's the best thing you could play on turn.
So now if you're a rogue, you could have the advantage because you could have 4 pit fighters essentially.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, you could have even more because there's no limit. What am I saying?
Wow, actually, we didn't even think about this. Fiery Penguin says, keep in mind, you play this against Rogue, this is useless. So, because you're getting cards from Rogue from Undercity Huckster and Burgle, and they don't reduce from Rogue. So
That's true. So there's another negative.
That's the one downside to it for sure. But
that's a good
again,
point.
it doesn't really change what we kind of said. And Azur says there could be more cards coming out. Very true. Like if they make another, they need to make another, either 1 or 2 cards that do this. It's
right.
I'm
If
not
you
saying
get
it's
another
impossible,
card
but-
from other classes,
I think it themes well with Rogue for that to happen because they're thieves, you know, like they're
Right.
stealing.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool. I like how when they try to push thematically the classes.
Absolutely, I love the theme stuff like Murlocs, and I love those decks because they're just so fun to play.
Exactly. It's definitely a cool card. Like it's not. I don't think it's gonna be great, but I just think it's cool. It's really cool, and it's not horrible. Like you could never say this is a bad card. Like it doesn't because the stats on it.
Right.
Like it might not. I don't know if it can take a slot in a constructed deck,
Yeah,
but even if it did, it's like all right. Well, it's a 5/6. It could be a lot worse. Like there's no downside to this card except that it doesn't do a lot if you don't have, have the spells in your hand from other
Right.
classes.
And even if you do have them, it still may not do that much. So.
Right, but it's never like a negative. Is all I'm
Right,
saying.
right, yeah.
This card has no negative sides to it, so therefore it's okay. It's fun,
Yeah, absolutely.
Arena, it's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
As next up, we have a 7-mana mage spell called Firelands Portal. Deal 5 damage, summon a random 5-cost minion.
I like it.
What do you think,
Oh,
Juice?
go ahead. Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I mean, I just like it. I mean, maybe I'm just being selfish because I played like the Firelands in World of Warcraft, and then, so it's appealing to me, cosmetically. But deal 5 damage, summon a random 5-cost minion. 5 damage is good. On turn 7, if they played a 7-cost card, it probably doesn't have 5 health. You have to assume it would have 7 health, right? If they played 1 minion, so it's going to fall short there. Thinking about it now, I don't think it's going to be that great, but it could play well, in a late game mage deck. If you have, an Emperor or something like that, you can make it 6 mana, control the game a little bit. You get that 5 damage. You could also use it on their face too, and it's another mage spell that you could draw from, from your random pulls, of mage spell cards.
That's true.
But yeah, that's really all that's coming to mind right now. I can't think of because turn 7 is so late for not even 7 damage. Plus you have Fireball, which is 1 more damage, and it's 3 mana minus this. Obviously, you get the benefit for the minion. So you could find yourself playing it just on their face just to get a 5-cost minion. I don't see it working great where you're trading and putting a minion out. But if you can get that out, then that's an awesome trade. I mean, you're trading their minion and you're putting a 5 on the board, but it's random.
Yeah. Caleb, what do you think?
I think that it can be really good in certain circumstances, but overall, I don't think it's that good.
Wow. I'm opting out again.
No, I mean, like, I don't think it's a bad card, but okay, you can choose where to deal the 5 damage with this one though, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not random, so that's nice. But I saw someone's talking about this card, and they brought up a good point that they actually did run the numbers, and the average 5 drop is a 4/4 if you take the average.
Really?
So there's actually not that many good 5 drops. Like, there's a lot of really shitty ones. So sorry for my language. There's a lot of really crappy ones that have like really good battle cries. Like say like the bomb lobber. Like there's a lot of cards like that for 5.
Bomb Lobber's gone though.
So word. Okay. Well, I guess I'm in arena. You can still be there.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's that many good 5s. But obviously, if you did get a good one, it's amazing. Like if you got like Earth Elemental, it's hype. Like or a Pit Fighter, it's hype. Like this card can be very good, but it can be very bad. So it's just random.
No,
It's
guys, this card cannot be bad. Like, think about so
What's the scenario?
Okay, think about the mana cost. Like, okay, a card that we used to play in Mage would be like Flame Cannon. Okay, Flame Cannon was random 4 damage. It was played a lot, right? Because you could just kill a 4. This card, so Flame Cannon was 2 mana, and it was a random 4 damage. This is a directed 5 damage, and you're paying 5 mana. Obviously, you can't choose the 5 drop, but it can go anywhere. This 5 damage can go to his face. It can go to a minion. The tempo that you get from this card, like on turn 7, you guys are thinking of like Juice. You mentioned like 7 health minions. Like there are hardly any 7 health minions played in the game. Like 5 damage is going to kill almost every minion that we see. Like Emperor, it kills Emperors. It kills Drakes. It kills like it doesn't kill Draconoid Crushers, but it kills the 5/4 the 5/4 dragon that deals 3 damage. This card kills most minions that you see, and on top of that, you're gonna get a 5 drop. So worst case scenario, you're getting like the worst 5 drops are like 3/3s, like Kendall said, like Bomb Lobber, stuff like that. But the fact that you're killing something and getting a minion for only 7 mana is like I think it's very good. And like
I think
obviously it's not as good as
you,
Fireball, but you would play 4 Fireballs if you could. So like you're gonna play this like in a deck that like plays like 2 Torches, 2 Fireballs. This is like you would definitely play these because now you have even more reach because it's more damage to the face. Like let's say you're playing a Tempo Mage and you just need that 5 damage. This could be the kill. This can be remove a minion. It's just I think this card is insane. Like for the value. Like, think about Siphon Soul. Siphon Soul can kill anything, but you're only healing for 3. This is kill basically anything and get a 5-drop instead of heal. So I think this card
it is one more mana than Siphon Soul.
Yeah, it's one more, but I think getting a 5-drop is way better than healing for 3 usually.
I think it's a good offensive card and not that good of a defensive card. Because I think there's also a lot of minions that like for instance the warrior card, the Cthulhu one that gives you 10 armor, right? Like that's 6 health. I think we see there's also quite a few like 6 health minions out there, and like that 1 extra health is going to hurt you than help you, right? Because if you can't get through that, and then let's say you have like a 4 health minion, their minion's still up, you know, they're just going to trade it right there, and you didn't get the value. So it's not defensively. I don't see it good. Offensively, I think it's great. Like you boom 5 damage and move a minion, get it out there, get it done.
Yeah,
with.
But that's just huge tempo. It's a huge tempo swing.
Like, I think if you're ahead or even with them, it's really good. But I think if you're behind, it's actually not that good.
But
like,
even if
you
like
a
you're
flame
behind
strike,
one minion,
like a flame strike's better if you're behind them.
Yeah, against
I
like a zoo deck, like a big board, this isn't great, obviously. Like, but like if you're doing okay against the zoo and they have only like a Darkshire and a couple 1/1s out, and you kill the Darkshire and get a 5-drop against their 1/1s, like that swing is so good for you.
It's definitely good, but like,
I think this deck is going in every Yogg Tempo Mage hands down.
I think it's
gonna
Yogg,
be two of in every Yogg / Tempo Mage. I think for sure. I think
it might be too slow. Is
in a Yogg?
It says it costs 7. Like that's my whole point. Is like by turn 7, like I just don't know if it does as much at turn 7 as it. You know what I mean? I still think it's really good. I don't think it's a bad card by any means. I have a feeling it's gonna be clunky, like a clunky.
In
card.
Arena, this is insane, right? In Arena, it's very good.
I would say it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah. I would say it's like an above average. I'd give this like a B, or like a B- or something. I'm not like super. I tend to also just not get like super amped on cards.
Yeah.
Like until I play them, so like I can't be like, yeah, this is crazy, but it's definitely. I don't think you're wrong at all. I think that situationally it can be very, very, very good, but then there's going to be situations where it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Like just depending on a situation where it's ever bad, because like worst comes to worst, you like.
What if your board's clear and they have like Juice said they dropped? I mean, for 7. I think 6 health is like the minimum almost. And you can't, and all it does is like present that you can maybe kill that.
How many people are playing 7 drops? Like on turn 7, a lot of times you're playing 2 small things.
A 6 health minion.
But 6 drops are like Sylve, Emperor, like a lot of 6 drops have 5 health too. Like there's not a lot of 6 health minions. You're talking like the armor up guy in Warrior, the Draconoid Crusher. I guess there's some 3/6s like water elementals and stuff. The dragon with a taunt. But if there's like that plus something else on board, then you just kill the other thing. So like you're still putting a minion against their minion, and like let's say even if there is a 6 health minion, you still just deal the 5 to that, and then you're still end up being able to kill that over time, and maybe you get an insane 5-drop. You know, I just think it's in almost every situation it's going to be I think it beats Flame Strike in that like. Well, I think it beats Flame Strike a lot of the time because a lot of the times you use Flame Strike to kill like one or two mid-sized things, whereas this can do the same thing. And it's if you're on turn 7 and you're ahead, you don't want Flame Strike. You don't need Flame Strike. This you can just keep playing it. You can just keep pushing damage and get a minion. So I mean,
that's what I was saying. It's really good under certain circumstances. Yeah. Like it's really good if you have the tempo. And if you don't have the tempo, it's not bad.
If you're just slightly behind, this gets you back.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I was saying. If you're ahead or like even or like barely behind, it's really good. But if you're really behind, it's not that good. Yeah, but I mean, you never want to be in that position anyway. So I think it's definitely good. 100%.
It's good for Yogg,
it's a good
for
card.
sure. Like I think for Yogg, it gives you the opportunity to be offensive on turn 7 because now you're playing a spell, you're doing damage, and you're putting a minion on the board. I think the minion is huge for the Yogg decks because now it just gives them something else to play out there that your opponent has to deal with, opposed to you just like constantly clearing their stuff.
Yeah, but it's not even that bad. You're saying it's only offense, but this is kills a minion too. You can remove a decent sized minion with this. So I just think the tempo swing is so good. Fire Ping, it reminds me of a worse implosion. I mean, Implosion was insane. So like even if it's slightly
Yeah,
worse than
Implosion's
Implosion, if it's anywhere near Implosion, this card is 2 of in most Mage decks. So I'm not saying it's a 2 of in every Mage deck, but I think this card is definitely. I
just don't like the mana cost. I think 7 is a lot.
It's 7, but I
think it's good. I just think it's clunky. Like I said, I think it can be really good, and we'll see. I think.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
curious
you guys
to
are
see.
right. I mean,
Curious to see.
it is 7, so it's going to come quite a bit later. But like,
I'm just trying to think. What else would you have in constructed on turn 7 that like that you could play also, like maybe like a Ronin, or he's 8, right?
He's 8. Yeah. Antonidas, which you play him and you either have to combo him with something. Like you're way happier about having this on 7 usually than an Antonidas. Antonidas is like the last thing you want to have, and like combo it with like a mirror image or something. So
definitely not a bad card at all. I want to see how it
gives
plays.
you one more spell, and it's just like I like it a lot.
It's one of those things where I need to see how it plays. Like I need to see, like, it's one of those things that you'll know like real quick, like after like 10 games, like if you like it or not. You know, I want to get it in action. This card
based on what you play against.
It just from a value. I'm bringing it up one more time. The value perspective. You said average 5-drop is 4/4. So if you're getting a 4/4 and dealing 5 damage, that's I think that's worth 7 mana, because 5 damage is in between. In between is 5 damage is. Shamans pay 3 damage for 5. No, they pay 3 mana for 5 plus overload. So this, assuming you're paying 4 for a 4/4 and then 3 for the 5 with no overload, it's very good value. Like
right
on average. And sometimes gonna win you the game because you get the Earth Elemental or you get
that's true.
The insane 5s.
I don't think it's broken. Like I think it is as powerful as a 7 mana card it should be. You know, like it's not like gonna break the game, but it's like a good card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a good card. Like I could see players playing this and then it working out for them, but I don't know if it's going to be in the meta. Like I don't know.
I don't think it's a broken card, but I think it's a good card. Okay. You know, it's not like Dr. Boom broken, but it's definitely
not. Card. But I think it's very strong. I think it's strong.
It's strong. It's definitely strong. You can't argue that. That's not a strong card.
Paladin card, 6 mana, 4/4, Ivory Knight, Battlecry, discover a spell, restore health to your hero equal to its cost.
You want to go ahead, Juice?
So it's any spell, right? Or is it just
discover a spell? So you choose 3. And so if you played like the discover from the druid, you know you can get
only druid spells. Okay. So you get any paladin one and then restore health. I mean, first thing that comes to mind is like is the heal pallies, right? I think this is great for them. They can pull more heals and then just keep running games into fatigue. Plus, it heals them right there. Yeah, I mean that's really the only thing that comes to mind is like it's a healing card. Like it's designed not to be aggressive, because I don't see you want to play a 6. If you're playing like an aggro pally deck in any way, you don't want to play the 6 just for a 4/4. Picking a spell, it can be good. It can be beneficial to you. You get something offensive. I'm always play offensive. I'm always thinking like the offensive ways. Defensively, you could get a heal. So you could get, the 8 cost lay on hands, and then that heals you for 8, right? So you get that heal out of it, and then you get the heal next time you play it. So for late game Paladin, I think it's a good card. I think it's a good 6/6. The other card you have is he's the Guardian of Kings. Is he 6 or 7 mana?
He's 7 mana, 5/6 heal for 6.
Okay. That's a great card too.
Guardian of Kings, right?
Yeah, I say Guardian Kings. I mean, you could play with all those, and you can just run like a heal pally, if you wanted to. But I don't know how effective that would be. Like that's not coming to mind for me. I think it's a good heal card, and you get a spell out of it too, which is really great. So I like the card.
Yeah, I'll go a little bit. I think like what you mentioned, like the Healadin type thing. I used to try to play Healadin all the time, like just straight heal, just outvalue people, play like just a car and just super late game stuff and try to just last forever. And this card is great for that, but that deck is like not very viable. Just like healing over and over is like it can win you the game sometimes, but like a lot of times Paladin will just get like stomped out of games like with Zoo and stuff. So against like this card is really slow. It can bring a lot of value. Yeah, you get the lay on hands, heal for 8, then you got to lay on hands in your hands, but it's very slow.
Super slow. It's really slow. Yeah.
Very slow. And then some of the times you're gonna get 3 Paladin secrets to choose from. You're gonna be like, I get to heal for 1 and get a secret, and you're like, wow, So
yeah,
it's like
true.
I think it's like mediocre at best. I would love for this. I would love to see a paladin deck that can just go super late game but the only decks that do that right now are Inzoth and a Murloc. I run like a Murloc variation, which those decks don't really want this card because they already have ways to heal with their like Forbidden Healing, which can heal for a lot more, and you know what you're gonna get. And so I mean, yeah, like there are better heal options out there, but I'm definitely gonna make a thematic Heal-It-In deck with every heal that Paladin runs, except for maybe like Holy Lights, and just see how that works, and just try to take people into the late game because I love freaking hitting dudes, just making dudes all game, just making
real quick though. I think it's actually gonna be kind of good in Arena, just the fact that you get a heal and a spell from it. So if you get put against some other bad 6-drops, like that worm, that bookworm or something, and then another one that has basically low attack and relatively low health. I think this one you're going to pick because the heals are really good too in Arena. Like when your opponent's trying to rush you, because sometimes you just have to do that in Arena. Like you just have the cards that you need to just go face with because you have that one turn advantage, and you're just able to like keep going damage on the face before your opponent can kill them all out. Something like, if that's happening to you, something like a heal is great to throw that momentum off and to take control of the game if your opponent's invested too much in that. And that you get a spell out of it too that you get to pick from 3 is pretty good too. So I think I like it for Arena a lot more than I do for Constructed.
Yeah, like Arena is a good point. Like on turn 10, you play this, you grab like a Hammer of Wrath, you can play this and a Hammer of Wrath. It's like it can give you a lot of value in Arena. And the Discover is powerful. We found that out, but it's very slow. So, Caleb, any thoughts?
I agree with both you guys. I think that, and I agree with Juice's chair here. I'm just kidding. I think it's really good in Arena.
He's getting a new one, so
heals are great in Arena. Like, think about a heal bot healed you for 8, and it was 5 for a 3/3. So this is to me is like along the lines of an antique heal bot in Arena. Like, I think it's way too slow in Constructed. I think that there's other cards, like if you're going to run heals in Constructed, like the Forbidden Ritual or whatever, Forbidden Healing, you know what I'm talking about? That card's so much more flexible and heals for so much more if you need it to. Like, I think this card's really slow, and if it was a slow meta, like a really slow meta, it'd be pretty good, but it's just, you're right, Connor, it's so slow. And like, you said you can get 3 secrets, you can get really cheap spells. Like, what if you get a Hammer of Wrath, you're only healing for 4. That's really not that much. But in Arena, I think it's pretty stellar. Like prolonging games in Arena with heals and stuff literally wins all the time. It's really strong. Where the game is more like baseline and fundamentals and not like crazy stuff happening. This is really, really good in Arena, but not that hot.
The true deficit to this card is going to be the secrets. Is the fact that you can. If you have to pull a secret, you don't get health out of it. The benefit, though, is that it's Discover. Sometimes you'll have to pick the big one.
It could be. What if you get like an Avenging Wrath or something?
Wrath.
You need a little.
So we didn't even talk about the spells that you can get. Like the big stuff would be. Is there anything else other than Lay on Hands, Avenging Wrath, like Enter the Colosseum as a 6 mana?
You might
Consecration's
get
4.
You might get the Murloc card.
Anything,
the 10. Oh man, I didn't even think of that.
Sometimes you could just get it just to heal for 10. You know what I mean? Like in Arena, like if you just need to heal, like you said, like
that's
Arena.
Solid
typically,
Arena.
The games go a lot longer because people's decks aren't streamlined to just do things. So like
they can like pretty much assume like if it's a 4, if you get healed for 4, then it's hard because it's like a
Hammer of Concept,
Hammer of Wrath. I guess it can only be
Blessing of Kings.
I guess it's only 2 things, but even if they know like if it's a 4, if it's like Kings or something, it's so powerful that it doesn't even matter if they know, in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean?
They wouldn't know. Like, I mean, there's still 3 cards. You got Kings, Consecrate, Hammer, Wrath. Those 3, right?
Yeah.
And if it's a secret, they definitely don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think that's that big of a deal that they'll know what it is.
Right. No, I think you're doing it for the longevity of it.
If he heals for 8, guys, he's getting Lay on Hands. There's no other.
Yeah. And even if you know, all that's going to do is make you a little salty. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to kill him,
unless you have lethal on board next turn or something. This guy, we got Kindly Grandmother, a 2-mana 1/1 hunter card. Death Rattle, summon a 3/2 big bad wolf, and it's a beast.
I think this card's insane.
Yeah,
I think it's really good. I honestly think it's going to make hunters really good, just because if they can bridge the gap, if they can get to turn 6, it's hard to beat a hunter if they have the big cards. And I think I don't know. I just think this is really good. Just having a death rattle like this beats whirlwinds. This is really good against warrior, which obviously there's like a million warriors right now in the meta. So I mean, I could see a situation where the raven could kill this thing, right? Like could kill both ends of it.
Yeah.
There's times when it's not that good, but overall I think it's like a pretty you get a lot of stats and just by the math of it, it's pretty good.
That's interesting. Those could be 2 popular decks, dude. Beast Druid and then Death Rattle kind of Hunter. They could be 2. I wonder which wins that matchup. But Juice, what do you think?
I think it's okay. I don't know if it's that good. I don't like the fact that it's 2 mana. So I'm trying to think, like, what do you replace? You replace your Huge Toad. You replace your King's Elk. If we're thinking about a mid-range Hunter. Yeah, you get the 3/2 out of it, which is solid. That's kind of like a King's Elk, though. So I think it's good against control decks. If you want them to pop some of their AOE or anything else, that would hit this one too, and then it would trickle over the 3/2 into the next turn. Then I think it'd be pretty beneficial. But I think it's okay. I think it's an okay card.
What do you think, Connor?
I like this card a lot because I've actually I don't know if it was this season or last season, but one of the seasons I got Legend with a mid-range Hunter deck, and having the 2-drop was it was kind of like having the Mana Worm or not. This is another great 2-drop that you can play on turn 2 and feel great about it no matter what. Because obviously there's gonna be situations where it gets killed off efficiently, but it's not going to be that often. It's generally going to be tough for the opponent to deal with. And like I said, on turn 2, you just slam this down, and you're well, they're going to trade, and they got a 3/2, and they got to deal with that too. So it's sticky. It's good with Houndmaster. It activates guild commands. It's 2 mana, so
it's a beast. And both are beasts.
Both are beasts.
Oh, it is
so
beast.
It's when you play this, you're well, I got a beast for at least
beast for at least.
A beast for at least another. You can go this, and if you have the coin and you go this on turn 2, they have to deal with this and the 3/2, or you're Houndmastering something. So it's
what would you trade then? The Huge Toad for this?
No, I'd play all 6.
I'd play all. I'd play all.
Now
of
you
them.
just have 6
You play all.
Having this,
okay.
I may even cut Fire Bats for this. Probably not.
You could put 1 Cult Master too in your Hunter deck.
Could do that. Yeah, but actually, I think instead of Cold Master, I just like running an Inzoth, and that way I just that's my late game. I just run out of cards, but that's fine because you have Call the Wilds and Inzoth. That's so much late game. Like Cantaloupe said, if you can get to turn 6 as a Hunter, you win the game. Almost every single matchup.
Every time.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
Doesn't even matter
benefit.
how much. I'll bring up a game that I had against a warrior, and the warrior had 60 armor, and I'm like, guys, I'm fine. I don't care about his armor at this point. I'm gonna win this game. And some guy in chat was like, he has a hunt, and I'm like, it's fine. And I ended up winning the game because hunters have so much staying power, and I had the Inzoth in the deck, but that Death Rattle Hunter with an Inzoth or even without the Inzoth is just super powerful. And I think I ran Loot Hoarders in the Inzoth deck, and this would just replace those hands down. I would just play these instead and not worry about drawing the cards and just play my Death Rattles, be as super annoying as possible. Against warriors and stuff, this is really good because it's now it blocks AoEs. Sometimes they're just well, I'm just gonna leave it on board. Well, you can just trade it in to whatever you want, and it's sticky. It's a beast. It's just a good card. Just good. And even in arena, it's fine because the value on it is a 1/1 and a 3/2. So I mean,
I think it's an amazing card. I think it's really, really good. Age just said it's just the 1/1 initially. We saw a very similar card phase out of the meta. And we did Twilight Summoner though, but that's for 4. This is for 2. A 6. If you add the stats in for the on turn 4, the 1/1's way worse than on turn 2. Way worse.
Yeah.
I think this card's real, and the whole when you play Hunter,
it's a beast.
It's a beast. When you play Hunter, basically you're just struggling to get to the strong turns, and this really helps you bridge the gap to your strong turn. So I think it's really powerful, really good.
I'm eager to see it.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna make the Inzoth. I'm gonna make my Inzoth Hunter deck when these come out and just stomp the ladder for a little while for sure.
It's one last thing I'll say if it's okay.
Sure.
It's so the Raven can clear this thing, right? But the Raven can clear any 2 almost. You know what I mean? So it's at the worst, this card's no worse than a normal 2. You know what I mean? At the worst. And at the best, it's just amazing. It protects. To me, I'm just thinking of that stupid Ravaging Ghoul. I just see that ghoul in my nightmares, guys. I dream about it. I hate him. And this card fights back. It fights back against that card. Yeah. So I think it's really good against... And Brawl. This thing kicks Brawl's ass.
Yeah.
Well,
You
see,
know?
like I was thinking about the Ravaging Ghoul play, and what kept me held back is what if he has, an axe? What if he has the axe on these ghouls and then he just axe and hacks it away? And
Yeah,
then
but
I'm
what
down.
about you're talking about Elec? What does Axe do to Elec? Axe
Yeah.
is like Axe is just
Oh,
good
yeah,
against
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Like you can't
No,
really
it-
beat
it does.
Fiery War Axe is insane. This card is really good against Fiery War Axe.
It's like
actually.
trades with an axe because he has to hit it twice if he
Yeah.
wants to clear it. So I think it's pretty gross, this card.
So that like before on that's like again, in the Warrior Hunter matchup, you always used to go, well, I got my Elec or my Toad, and it's about to get axed, and then my next drop's about to get axed. But now you go turn 2. Here you go, Warrior. Here's a sticky minion you got to deal with. Like have fun with your Fiery War Axe that you were so excited to get in your opening hand. So this card makes the thing is like you usually won that matchup anyway.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Is that like this is kind of bad. Like this is kind of against warriors, like really good. But
Really
it was
good.
already so good against
Right.
warriors. This deck,
1 mana, 1/3 Warlock. It's a demon, and Malc. You guys might have to help me with this. Malchazar's Imp.
Malchazar's
Yeah.
Malchazar's Imp. Whatever. Whenever you discard a card, draw a card. Well, how many discard Warlocks have you guys seen on ladder lately?
Like none.
He's 0, right?
I think this card is really cool. Like I
Yeah.
think that it's a cool design and a cool step in like an interesting direction. But I don't think it's going to be like that hot, honestly. But there's the fell. There's like a new one of the guys that gets buffed and you discard. Maybe someone will come up with some new deck that I don't know how good it'll be, but this definitely opens up some lanes for people, I guess, which is cool to me.
Yeah. Juice, what do you think?
Kind of what Caleb says. Like I think it's a cool idea, but the whole discard thing is really iffy, especially for matchmaking. I mean, you're throwing away cards, in order to take the advantage, and you're playing on a tempo game. You're playing a game that like the card value increases. So if you lose a card that you needed, and they have it, you're down in that. You're down in that play. What he was talking about the 2-cost 3/2. Because I tried to play when the discard cards came out. I tried to play a discard Warlock.
Yeah.
And it's really volatile. Like you can just boom, 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 face, and that's it. They're done. Or you can lose a card that you needed on the next turn, and that's it. You're out of the race. Like you're just like struggling from that point. You're just struggling for anything. I think it's cool though. It's like whenever you discard a card, draw a card. It makes it a little bit more viable. So now you can keep drawing. But I don't think there's enough. I don't know what other like neutral cards you would put in order to stabilize this to make it viable. That you just play with those demon discard cards. So like you feel okay discarding some cards, and then the other ones, you can still play them and they'll still keep you in the game. I think it's okay. I don't think we'll see it a lot. I think somebody will try to make one though, and it'll be fun to play. That's for sure.
This card definitely makes discard Warlocks better because these guys are saying Warlocks don't need to draw cards, but guys,
Right.
that's not the
They
point.
don't,
Like
yeah.
this card enables you to not have to life tap on like this card is going to keep the ammo going longer, so you don't have to life tap as soon as you normally would. So like you're playing discard Warlock and you just discard everything and then life tap. This card lets you life tap even later because it cycles the cards that when you play this on turn 1 and then you go into your discard stuff on turn 2, you're cycling. So like you play the 2-mana Succubus, discard a card, it brings one into your hand. So
This
now you
card's
have a 1/3
really
and
good
a
with
4/3.
Succubus.
Yeah,
this
this
goes
into
with Succubus better than any card.
Also,
Never forgot about Succubus.
there's a 2-mana. You guys probably don't even know. There's a 3-mana 3/2 that discards a card and then Death Rattle, draw a card. So you play that on turn 2. You discard a card, and you get to draw a card and draw a card from the Death Rattle.
True.
So you can go this into that on turn 2. So this card enables like this. I'm not saying it's going to make discard Warlock a thing, but it definitely opens up. Like I'm excited to try some discard. I've never actually played discard.
It's fun, right?
before.
You could even play it in, if you wanted to, you could try it in a zoo if you run Soulfires, and if you run your what is the 5/7 called? If you run him,
Yeah, this is gonna. I mean, both those cards are going to go in discard Warlock.
because it's also good
Soulfire,
value.
Dream
Like
Guard.
it's a 1/3,
It's
Like,
not a bad one at all.
Exactly. So you don't even, and there's no like deficit to
Like,
playing
yeah.
it. It's not like you have to use it. It's just a benefit. If I end up discarding a card and that's on the board, then I can do it. Otherwise, it's just a 1/3 for a 1 cost, which is pretty solid.
It's fine.
So,
yeah, it's sticky. It's sticky. On turn 1, there's like almost nothing that can deal with this. They'll play their 3/2, but then you get to do your discard stuff on turn 2. Also, on turn 6, you play this plus Doomguard, you draw 2 cards.
Doomguard.
I mean, you don't draw 2 cards, but you don't necessarily lose the cards. So it's like, I like this card a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's pretty cool. I liked what you guys have brought up about it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and a lot of the discard effects are cheap, so you can combo this with the 3/2, the Succubus, like it just, and it cycles fast. So like this is gonna be a super aggressive Warlock deck.
It's gonna enable some cards that
weren't played at all.
Yeah, can you? Okay, what if?
What if you Dark Peddler? So now you can pull this out of a Dark Peddler. So if you don't even need to put it in your deck. So you can just run with the Soul
You're gonna put it in the
Fires.
discard decks for sure, but
Yeah, in the discard decks. But if you're running a zoo and you want to get like some benefit from your Soul Fires or your Doom Guards,
you're gonna start seeing this guy sometimes.
Yeah, you can pull him out. Yeah,
it's definitely cool. It just makes some cards that never saw play, now they might see play. So that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Anything to open up more cards and lanes of play, I think is really cool. So
yeah, I like this. It's a really cool card, and it's a demon. So, Madcow says it's just really bad for long games when you lose out on card values. Yeah, well, this discard deck is not trying to go long game. You're trying to kill them by. It doesn't have to be that long. Like how often do you like actually run out of cards as a zoo? It happens sometimes against like control warriors and stuff, but like generally there's a tipping point in the game where you have either lost or you've won. Like you've either got them at a point where they can't come back, or they've stabilized and you've lost already. So, and with a discard deck, you're gonna have some bursts because you're gonna have Doom Guards, you're gonna have Soul Fires and stuff, and you can play 2 of each now with this card. So, it's this card enabled. Yeah, I'm excited for this card.
It's a cool card.
I'm not saying it's gonna make the deck a thing. Well, it'll make the deck a thing. I just don't know how good the thing will be.
Right. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to play.
It's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be cool.
Morose, 3 mana 1/1 stealth. A neutral legendary, by the way. 3 mana 1/1 stealth. At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 steward.
1/1 steward.
This first time you guys have probably seen it. A lot of you guys have probably seen this because I think this was released, within the last day or something.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see these.
Oh my gosh, I don't think it's good at all because of Warriors. There's just too many ghouls out there.
Yeah, the ghouls are huge.
It's just like it's good maybe in like a druid deck where you like a token deck. But it's pretty slow. Like even after 2 turns, this thing's like a 2/2 for 3. I think it's
after 2 turns. It'd be 3/3 because you get 3 at it's at the end.
Oh, okay, okay, you're right. I don't know. I don't think it's very good personally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's maybe good in token, but I think it'd be way better if warriors weren't such a thing. There's so many freaking warriors right now. That to me, this card is just booty. Like it's just gonna get wrecked all the time.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing I've learned in Hearthstone. It's that don't underestimate stealth, because stealth is like super powerful. Like granted, but guys, there are buffs, right? Like you can power word shield this, you can Blessing of Kings it, and it's stealth. So you can buff it, and it stays stealth. So like, yeah, you can get infinite value. I'm trying to make a terrible card not terrible. Like obviously this card is so fragile. Like you're paying 3 mana for a card that's probably gonna die to like any world. I mean, it dies to any whirlwind effect. Like Fan of Knives. Well, is there any deck that doesn't run? Yeah, or missile. Is there any deck that doesn't run like any sort of like whirlwind effect or AOE or anything?
Suit lock.
It's just, I guess against Zoo, it's pretty nuts. Yeah, because Zoo could never kill it, but.
Yeah, it could. I mean, if they don't have the cards to deal with it, sure, it's good. But literally, you could call Hearthstone Whirlwind Stone because that's how many whirlwinds are in every game. There's a whirlwind in every game. Like it's ridiculous. So yeah, I think this card's kind of poop.
Yeah, people are gonna try to make it work. Like I heard people chat going crazy. Like Divine Shield Paladin's gonna do it. Oh, Paladin could make this card work. Actually,
it actually could be pretty sick. Like that's. The token druid maybe, and then the aggro paladin could be kind of sick. Like this with the Darkshire guy that shields each one could be good, but I don't know, it just seems like you have to invest so much in it to make it work.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, Zoo has Knife Juggler, but even then, it's like the juggler has to get lucky and stuff. But they do have a way to remove it, so I said they could never deal with it. But yeah, so I mean, even in the token like paladin deck, like what are you doing with 1/1s? You know, like you make a bunch of 1/1s. What are you doing with them? Like you still gotta still kill your opponent. You know, you gotta like you're gonna like you have to play this guy on 3, then you got to wait a turn to buff him and stuff. So if he just dies on 3, you just lose the game. And then
Is there any benefit to the steward? It's just a 1/1.
yeah, it's just a 1/1.
It's just a 1/1.
I was looking for a picture of it,
Lonesome
actually. I don't
1/1.
even know if they have a picture.
Yeah, I tried to find one. I couldn't find one.
Yeah, I can't get down with this. This is the one card that I've seen today so far that I was like, this card's just bad, I think.
Yeah.
What's the card that is already 3 mana and it has 1/5 health and it summons a demon at the end of your turn for health?
Oh, yeah, somebody in chat said, why don't you just play Imp Master?
Yeah,
Because Imp Master has like it's a 1/4 basically. It's a 1/4 and a 1/1 that keeps killing itself. The thing about this is it's infinite value. Like if you can get it to stick, it can just give you 1/1s the rest of the game.
Yeah, but too like
once it's stealth, like let's say it has a Divine Shield and it's stealth and it's Blessing of Kings or whatever, like they can't unstealth this thing if you don't attack with it. So you can get infinite value on it. So, but I just think it's like too gimmicky. It's just like I don't know.
I think your infinite value is too low for the deck that you're playing. Like if you're playing a game like that, the 1/1 every turn after 3, if you get it.
What about Soul of the Forest Druid? Could they pull it off? Like they?
Yeah,
That's what I was saying.
That's like the
only,
only,
not even that good.
That's the only. I don't know. This card's.
If you can get this plus the Power of the Wild and Soul of the Forest, like yeah, you can do crazy stuff with it, but it's
3 mana
too.
and your guy is 1/1.
It's too late in the game.
And once you unstealth him, like if you keep him stealth, then you don't even get value from his body. It's just like a really
exactly.
You're just getting a 1/1 every turn. Like
he's like a really crappy Dreadsteed. I feel like
it's worse.
I was thinking, like, how couldn't you use him a Dreadsteed game just to see, like, maybe that you get some value for that if you don't have your Dreadsteed or whatever, like, just some more 1/1s, or anything that would buff your 1/1s, like the Druid, maybe, right? The Whisper of the Old Gods, when that 7 card that'll just buff your guys if you get a bunch of 1/1s, but I don't see it happening. I see like Whirlwinds, I see AoEs happening that you're going to lose your guy. You're going to lose that, and then on top of it, you're going to lose basically your turn 3 play.
I mean, Inventor has one good point in his paragraph saying that it only needs a slight buff to get safe from most answers, like stealth answers. But you need to have that in combo with this guy, because if you play it on 3, and it dies, then you have to wait till like turn 5 to get like a Power of the Wild with it, and then you're playing a Power of the Wild to get 1 health on this guy, and it's just like, what if they have 2 Ravaging Ghouls? It's just like so much to invest, and it's just so hard to pull off.
If it was a 2/3, then I'd feel differently about it. I think.
If it was a 2/3, it'd be amazing. It'd be crazy. Yeah.
Even if it was a 1/2, it might be. Be. I'd say like I'll try to play it if it was a 1/2, but a 1/1, I can't. Yeah, I can't mess with it.
Yeah.
Somebody will try to make it work, and they'll lose a lot of ranks on ladder. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. What about arena? A little more viable in arena, I think.
Yeah, a little bit more, but I still think he's actually a lot better in arena.
Yeah, because you don't know if they're going to have that AoE or not.
There's way less AoE, and also there's hardly any warriors in arena. Hardly any. Warriors not so hot in arena. So in arena, I think he's way better. Still, I don't think he's great. Because
you're getting other legendaries.
He's so slow. But he's way better in arena, 100%. So
maybe an aggro paladin, because you're going to be like super aggressive, and then late game you draw your divine favor, and then you fill up your hand. This would be a good turn after you do those things, like on a turn 6 if you can make it that far. So maybe aggro paladin sees this. It's also a legendary guy, so there's only 1. So
right.
Yeah, this would totally be in there, because you could play this first, and then you could play your Steward on turn 4, and then you could get the benefit from the 1/1, and then if you have another 1-drop in your hand, like your Divine Shield 1-drop, then you could get 2 Divine Shield minions out there at the end of your turn.
True. Okay, so aggro paladin maybe sees it. The Curator, 7 mana, neutral, legendary, 4/6 stats. It's a mech. And it has Taunt and Battlecry. Draw a Beast, Dragon, and Murloc from your deck. A Beast, Dragon, and a Murloc.
This card's so weird.
So weird. Yeah, it is weird, man. It has got a lot going on. So, first time you guys have seen it? Have you guys seen it?
I've seen this one once. I've seen this one, yeah.
First time for me.
Man. Who wants to go? Connor, why don't you start one?
Yeah.
Okay. So... Fabio says Beast, Dragon, Murloc, Hunter confirmed. Yeah, now all those memes are coming to life now. When people say like Murloc Beast Priest, like you can have one now, guys. No, like this. So the first thing that comes to my head is when I was thinking like, okay, Beast, Dragon, Murloc. Like how can I get value out of these things? And Sir Finley is a Murloc that's played in a lot of decks as a one of Murloc, and so I'm thinking, okay, well, it can definitely be played in Murloc decks, but or Sir Finley decks. But then I'm thinking like, well, what decks play Finley? One deck that I used to play Finley in is in fact Beast Druid, so maybe Beast Druid could use this because you draw a Beast, you draw your Finley. And Finley's not something you want to have early game. You want to top deck it. Like I think I've heard Cantaloupe say that before. You want to top deck your Finley late game so that you can get like your life tap or whatever. Choose your hero power that you want at that point. So, I mean,
Dragon Warrior runs Finley also. I think every Dragon Warrior runs
Dragon Warrior is another one I'm thinking of because you have dragons and you have the Finley. So you don't even need to have all. You don't have to have all three. So if you're playing this, like people have compared this to Ancient of Lore, you can get 2 draws off it. If you get 2 draws off it, it's a 7 mana 4/6 with taunt. That's very good. Ancient of Lore was played in every Druid deck, but Druid decks also could ramp into this too, so you got to keep that in mind. Innervated out, so it's pretty slow. It's 7 mana. The stats are not great, but the drawing is pretty good. Drawing Finley, drawing your dragon, drawing a beast. It's good. It's got potential. A Reno deck is another one that could be used this because you're going to play one of everything. You may play like an Alexstrasza. You can play like a one of beast like a Kodo or something. And then your Finley.
Yeah.
So you could end up getting value off this guy. But you're going to have to make some funky decks. But I like the card. It's really crazy. It's cool. I don't think it has any mech synergy with anything. But that's one of my thoughts.
One saving grace of it is that it has taunt too.
Yeah, taunt is very valuable.
Like that makes it way better. If it didn't have taunt, this card would be garbage in my opinion. But I think the taunt makes it at least like buys you some more time,
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I like Connor. I really like your point. Like I think that if the planning is correct, this can be pretty sick. Like in a slow deck, I definitely think it's another one of those cards that's going to open up other lanes of play. And it's like when Reno came out, it was such a game changer. Like you can only have one. It just totally changed how decks were created and what decks could be played. And I feel like this one, not like nearly to the extent that Reno did, but I think that this one opens up interesting deck ideas. And to me, that's a success. Like I think it's going to that makes the game more fun to me.
Yeah.
So I don't think this card's like overtly powerful, but I think it's pretty sick. I think it's a sick card. Like this is a cool card that can be really powerful under the right circumstances.
Yeah.
Or matchups. Yeah. Like this deck sucks, right? Like, probably. But
say what?
Against like an aggro deck, this card's really slow.
Yeah.
But it has taunt though, like you said. Like you're not that upset to have this because like a lot of times you're just like, God, I wish I had a taunt now. It's like this is a taunt. Yeah, it comes out on turn 7, but sometimes, hopefully, you can stay alive till turn 7. So I mean,
right. But you also hope those 3 cards you draw are going to be like what you need at that point. Is your Beast and your Dragon and your Murloc going to be that great? Murloc, I really like your point. When you said, the Sir Finley, because I couldn't think of a Murloc. I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's a 1-drop. You can use it without this. Dragon, you can have an endgame dragon that you want, right? So on turn 7, it buys you some time to like turn 9 if you want to drop Ysera or something else. Beast, I was trying to think, are there any other legendary beasts besides Mukla out there?
There is the Beast.
The Beast.
Yeah, the Beast. Well, I think the Stampeding Kodo is really good.
The Stampeding Kodo, yeah. That would be good. Like I think it's really good in a Reno deck. I think this is like a perfect slot for Reno because it gives them the taunt, gives a 4/6 on board, and you get 3 cards from it. You get the 3-card draw. So if you're playing a lock, you don't want a life tap or whatever. You're against like a freeze mage. You could just go ahead and play this card, and you can draw 3 cards right there. So you know exactly what you're getting. I don't think it's that great though. I mean, I think in theory it's really cool. I like how it opens up a bunch of possibilities. Like it's basically like infinite possibilities. You can put now all these different beast cards, all these different dragon cards, all these different Murloc cards in your deck, and you can run one ofs with them and this card, and then play it and get all of them. But I don't think it's that viable unless it's in Reno. Reno, I think you're going to have the most value for this card out of it. It's cool though. It looks cool.
Reno's
I like
not even like super popular right now, right? The Warlock's really the only Reno deck that we see, I think. And does Warlock even want to run this in Reno? Probably. I think it is good in Reno decks. But you got to be playing you're definitely playing Alexstrasza as the dragon probably, but they don't really play Sir Finley either. So that's kind of like you definitely need to have at least 2 of these in your deck because if you only have like 1 and then you draw the card, this isn't drawing anything, and it's a 7 mana 4/6 taunt.
Yeah, that's
pretty
true.
bad.
Yeah. You have to have 2.
If you get 2 off it, it's very good. So if you get the Murloc and you get the dragon, or if you get the Murloc and the Beast, I think the only obviously the only Murloc people are mentioning Corrupted Seer, but guys, I don't think you want to play Corrupted Seer in your deck. Like that's a 6 mana.
I've seen some.
2/3.
I've seen some.
That's 13 mana that you have to
exactly. You got to draw that and then play it. It's just I don't think you're playing it with. I mean, you maybe you guys are right. You know, somebody will play that, but I don't think that's what you want to go for. I think Finley is the most viable strategy I see with this. The good thing is you can play this and Finley on turn 10. You can play this Finley and a hero power.
If only this card said draw a man and you could draw Reno from it, then it'd be hype.
Draw a man.
But unfortunately, it doesn't.
There was a card that lets you draw Reno like that, and somebody mentioned like the searching effect or whatever it is, where you can choose exactly what you're going to get is pretty powerful because then you can choose. You know exactly what you're going to get from it. So people are saying freeze Mage to get the Alexstrasza, but if you draw the Alexstrasza, then it's like, well, I guess you have it. So I don't know. I think you want to have at least two. I think you want to have at least two of those.
But what if you draw the Alexstrasza and then you draw this?
That's
later?
What I mean. It's like a waste of like. That's why you want to have at least two. And they don't play Finley and Freeze Mage, but maybe why isn't Finley played in Freeze Mage? I was thinking about that actually. Like, you don't really care about the ping, right? Like there's maybe sometimes you want heal, sometimes you want, I don't know. Sometimes you want Hunter Hero Power as Freeze Mage. I don't know.
I never played Freeze Mage.
Life Tap as Freeze Mage. I haven't really touched Freeze Mage either, and it kind of fell away once they lost Mad Scientist. But
yeah,
Spider Egg.
Yeah, people are saying Cold Light Oracle. So that's another Murloc that you could potentially want to get. Cold Light Oracle, Finley, and the Corrupted Seer are the only three that you really, really want to get, unless you're playing like Murloc Paladin. But
you really have to map out your strategy.
Murloc Paladin is another one that could use this actually. Just getting another Murloc in your hand is good, like a War Leader or a Charge Guy, and then drawing your like a Kodo or something. It's good draw mechanics for Murloc Paladin. I might even try that in my Murloc Paladin.
It's just gonna make for some funky decks. Like it's gonna make for some weird decks because alone it's just so spread out. Like it's just too much going on with this card, you know.
Yeah.
But it definitely can be cool, but I don't think it's gonna see play that much.
Azure Drake's another dragon that can go in a lot of decks too. Azure Drake.
Oh, that's true.
I'm just trying to think of like how much you have to invest for this card to pay off.
Too much.
You have to change your deck quite a bit to fit in the Kodos or to fit in the, and then you're also playing this card as a 7-drop. So.
And it's not like you can put something into play if you draw it. It's like you still have to pay for it,
right?
You know, so it just costs so much. Like you play this on 7,
but like you mentioned, it's taunt. Taunt is nice.
Yeah.
Taunt is nice.
Taunt is nice.
It probably becomes 4 cards that have no other synergy with the rest of your deck unless you're running a Reno.